Torah portion, Nuak. Reading from Barashit, Genesis 6:9 through 11:32. Reading from the Banim, Yeshayahu, Isaiah 53:1 through 55:5, and reading through the Brit Hadashah, Lucas or Luke 1:1 through 80 through 1 Peter 3 through 8:22, and 2 Peter 2:4 through 10. Genesis 6:9, 11 through 32. These are the generations of Nuak. Nuak was a righteous man, blameless in his generations. Nuak walked with Alahym, and Nuak had 3 Banim, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in Alahym's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And Alahym saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And Alahym said to Nuak, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with pitch. This is how you are to make it. The length of the ark, 300 cubits. Its breadth, 50 cubits. And its height, 30 cubits. Make a roof for the ark, and finish it to a cubit above, and the door of the ark in its side. Make it with lower, second, and third decks, for behold, I will bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is the breath of Chai under Shamayim. Everything that is on the earth shall die, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you, your Banim, your wife, and your Banim's wives with you, and of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female, of the birds according to their kinds, and of the animals according to their kinds, of every creeping thing of the ground according to its kind. 2 of every sort shall come into you to keep them alive. Also, take with you every sort of food that is eaten, and store it up. It shall serve as food for you and for them. Nuak did this. He did all that Alahym commanded him. Then Yahuwah said to Nuak, Go into the ark, and you and all your household, for I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean, the male and his mate, and 7 pairs of the birds of the Shamayim, also male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground. And Nuak did all that Yahuwah had commanded him. Nuak was 600 years old when the flood of waters came upon the earth, and Nuak and his Banim and his wife and his Banim's wives with him went into the ark to escape the waters of the flood, of clean animals, and of animals that are not clean, and of birds, and of everything that creeps on the ground. 2 and 2, male and female, went into the ark with Noah, as Alahym had commanded Noah. And after 7 days the waters of the flood came upon the Arets. In the 600th year of Nuak's high, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the Shamayim were opened, and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very same day, Nuak and his Banim, Sham, Ham, and Japheth, and Nuak's wife, and the 3 wives of his Banim with them, entered the ark, they and every beast according to its kind, and all the livestock according to their kind, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, every winged creature. They went into the ark with Nuach, 2 and 2 of all flesh, in which there was the breath of Chai. And those that entered, male and female, of all flesh, went in as Alahym had commanded him, and Yahuwah shut him in. The flood continued 40 days on the Arets. The waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole Shamayim was covered. The waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep, and all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, livestock, beasts, all swimming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all mankind. Everything on the dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of Chai died. He blotted out every living thing that was on the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the Shamayim. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Nuak was left, and those who were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. But Alahym remembered Nuak, and all the beasts and all the livestock that were with him in the ark, and Alahym made a window blow over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the Shamayim were closed. The rain from the Shamayim was restrained, and the waters receded from the earth continually. At the end of 150 days, the waters had abated. And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters continued to abate until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. At the end of 40 days, Nuak opened the window of the ark that he had made, and sent forth a raven. It went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent forth a dove from him, to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot, and she returned to him to the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her, and brought her into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came back to him in the evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Nuak knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days and sent forth the dove, and she did not return to him any more. In the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from the face of the earth. And Nuak removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth had dried out. Then Elohim said to Nuak, Go out from the ark, you and your wife, and your banim, and your banim's wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you, of all flesh, fresh flesh, birds, and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may swarm on the earth, and be fruitful, and multiply on the earth. So Nuak went out, and his banim, and his wife, and his banim's wives with him, every beast, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves on the earth, went out by families from the ark. Then Nuak built an altar to Yahuwah, and took some of every clean animal, and some of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when Yahuwah smelled the pleasing aroma, Yahuwah said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intention of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. And Elohim Baruch Nuach and his banim, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the Shamayim, upon everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything, but you shall not eat flesh with its chai, that is, its blood. And for your chai blood I will require it, a reckoning. From every beast I will require it, and from man, from his fellow man, I will require a reckoning for the chai of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For Elohim made man in his own image. And you, be fruitful and multiply, increase greatly on the earth, and multiply in it. Then Elohim said to Nuach and to his banim with him, Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds of the livestock, and every beast of the earth, with you as many as came out of the ark. It is for every beast of the earth. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And Elohim said, This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for all future generations. I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you, and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it, and remember the everlasting covenant between Elohim and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. Elohim said to Nuach, This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. The Banim of Nuak, who went forth from the ark, were Sham, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the Banim of Nuak. From these the people of the whole earth were dispersed. Nuak began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine, and became drunk, and lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. Then Sham and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and walked backwards, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Nuak awoke from his wine, and knew what his youngest son had done to him, he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be to his brothers. He also said, Baruch be Yahuwah, the Alahym of Sham, and let Canaan be his servant. May Alahym enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Sham, and let Canaan be his servant. After the flood, Nuak lived 350 years. All the days of Nuak were 950 years, and he died. These are the generations of the Banim of Nuak, Sham, Ham, and Japheth, Banim who were born to them after the flood. The Banim of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Mashach, and Tiras. The Banim of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Rifhath, and Togarmah. The Banim of Yavan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the coastland people spread in their lands, each with his own language, by their clans, in their nations. The Banim of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The Banim of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The Banim of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod, and he was the first on the earth to be a mighty man. He was a mighty hunter before Yahuwah. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Yahuwah. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Arach, Akkad, and Calneh, and the land of Shinar. From the land he went into Assyria, and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Rezin, between Nineveh and Calah, that is, the great city. Egypt fathered Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrushim, Casluhim. From the whole Philistines came, and Caphtorim. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Hath, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, and the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, and the Sinites, and the Arvadites, and the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward, the clans of the Canaanites dispersed. And the territory of the Canaanites extended from Sidon into the direction of Gerar, as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zabulbim, as far as Lasha. These are the Banim of Ham, by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. To Sham also, the father of the children of Heber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. The Banim of Sham, Elam, Assur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The Banim of Aram, Uz, Hul, Qatar, and Mash. Arpachshad fathered Shelah, And Shelah fathered Abar. And Abar were born two Banim. The name of the one was Palag, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Yuktan. Yuktan fathered Al-Mudad, Shalaf, Hazaramavat, Yara, Haduram, Uzal, Dikla, Ubal, Abimeal, Shaba, Ophir, Hawilah, and Yoabab. All these were the Banim of Yuktan. The territory in which they lived extended from Masha in the direction of Safar to the hill country of the east. These are the Banim of Sham by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations, their families. These are the clans of the Banim of Nuak, according to their genealogies and their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words, and as people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had bricks for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the Shamaim, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." And Yahuwah came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And Yahuwah said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down, and there confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So Yahuwah dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there Yahuwah confused the language of all the earth. And from there Yahuwah dispersed them over the face of all the earth. These are the generations of Sham. When Sham was 100 years old, he fathered Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And Sham lived after he fathered Arpachshad 500 years, and had other Banim and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he fathered Shelah. And Arpachshad lived after he fathered Shelah 403 years, and had other Banim and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he fathered Abar. And Shelah lived after he fathered Abar 403 years, and had other Banim and daughters. When Abar had lived 34 years, he fathered Palag. And Abar lived after he fathered Palag 430 years, and he had other Banim and daughters. When Palag had lived 30 years, he fathered Ra'ul. And Palag lived after he fathered Ra'ul 209 years, and he had other Banim and daughters. When Ra'ul had lived 32 years, he fathered Sarug. And Ra'ul lived after he fathered Sarug 207 years, and had other Banim and daughters. When Sarug had lived 30 years, he fathered Nahor. And Sarug lived after he fathered Nahor 200 years, and he had other Banim and daughters. When Nahor lived 29 years, he fathered Terah. And Nahor lived after he fathered Terah 119 years, and he had other Banim and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran fathered Lut. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his kindred in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren, she had no child. Terah took Abram his bond, and Lut the bond of Haran his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law his bond, Abram's wife, and they went forth together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. The Nabim, Yeshayahu, Isaiah 53, 1 through 55, 5. Who has believed what he has heard from us, and to whom has the arm of Yahuwah been revealed? For he grew up before him like a young plant, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and as one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. We esteemed him stricken, smitten by Elohim, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us shalom, and with his wounds we are healed. All we, like sheep, have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like a sheep that before its shears is silent, so he opened not his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. And as for his generation, who considered that he was cut off out of the land of the living, stricken for the transgression of my people. And they made his grave with the wicked, and with a rich man in his death. Although he had done no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth, yet it was the will of Yahuwah to crush him. He has put him to grief. When his soul makes an offering for guilt, he shall see his offspring, he shall prolong his days. Then the will of Yahuwah shall prosper in his hands. Out of the anguish of his soul he shall see and be satisfied. By his knowledge shall the righteous one, my servant, make many to be accounted righteous, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will divide him a portion with the many, and I shall divide him a portion with the many, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his soul to death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many, and makes intercession for the transgressors. Sing, O barren one who did not bear. Break forth into singing and cry aloud, you who have not been in labor. For the children of the desolate one will be more than the children of her who is married, says Yahuwah. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let the curtains of your habitations be stretched out. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords, and strengthen your stakes, for you will spread abroad to the right and to the left, and your offspring will possess the nations, and will be the desolate cities, and will people the desolate cities. Fear not, for you will not be ashamed. Be not confounded, for you will not be disgraced. For you will forget the shame of your youth, and the reproach of your widowhood. You will remember no more. And the reproach of your widowhood you will remember no more. For your Maker is your husband. Yahuwah of hosts is his name, and the Kadash one of Yasharal is your Redeemer. The Alahym of the whole earth he is called. For Yahuwah has called you like a wife deserted and grieved in Ruach, like a wife of youth when she is cast off, says your Alahym. For a brief moment I deserted you, but with great compassion I will gather you. In overflowing anger, for a moment I hid my face from you, but with everlasting love I will have compassion on you, says Yahuwah, your Redeemer. This is like the days of Nuak to me, as I swore that the waters of Nuak should no more go over the earth. So I have sworn that I will not be angry with you, and will not rebuke you. For the mountains may depart, and the hills be removed, but my steadfast love shall not depart from you, and my covenant of shalom shall not be removed, says Yahuwah. Who has compassion on you? O afflicted one, storm-tossed and not comforted, behold, I will set your stones in antimony, and lay your foundations with sapphires. I will make your pinnacles of agate, and your gates of carbuncles, and all your walls of precious stones. All your children shall be taught by Yahuwah, and great shall be the shalom of your children. In righteousness you shall be established. You shall be far from oppression, for you shall not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near you. If anyone stirs up strife, it is not from me. Whoever stirs up strife with you shall fall because of you. Behold, I have created the smith who blows the fire of coals, and produces a weapon for its purpose. I have also created the ravager to destroy. No weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed, and you shall refute every tongue that rises against you in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahuwah, and their vindication from me, declares Yahuwah. Come, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and he who has no money, no funds, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk, without funds and without price. Why do you spend your funds for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which does not satisfy? Listen diligently to me, and eat what is too, and delight yourselves in rich food. Incline your ear, and come to me. Hear, that your soul might live, and I will make with you an everlasting covenant, my steadfast, sure love for David. Behold, I made him a witness to the peoples, a leader and commander from the peoples. Behold, you shall call a nation that you do not know, and a nation that did not know you shall run to you, because Yahuwah your Alahym, and of the Kadash one of Yasharal, for he has esteemed you. Luke 1:1-80. Inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile a narrative of things that have been accomplished among us, just as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have delivered them to us, it seemed to me also, having followed all things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus, that you may have certainty concerning the things you have been taught. In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there was a Kohan named Zachariah of the division of Abijah, and he had a wife from the daughters of Aharon, and her name was Elisheba, and they were both righteous before Elohim, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and statutes of Yahuwah. But they had no child, because Elisheba was barren, and both were advanced in years. Now he was serving as Kohan before Elohim, when his division was on duty, according to the custom of the Kohana. He was chosen by lot to enter the temple of Yahuwah and burn incense, and the whole multitude of the people were praying outside at that hour of incense. And there appeared to him a malach of Yahuwah, standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And Zachariah was troubled when he saw him, and fear fell upon him. But the malach said to him, Do not fear, do not be afraid, Zachariah, for your prayer has been heard, and your wife Elisheba will bear a bond, and you shall call his name Yahuchanan, and you will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth, for he will be great before the eyes of Yahuwah, and he must not drink wine or strong drink, and he will be filled with the Kudash Ruach, even from his mother's womb, and will turn many of the children of Yasharal to Yahuwah, their Elohim, and he will go before him in the Ruach of power of Eliyahu, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready for Yahuwah a people prepared. And Zachariah said to the malach, How shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is advanced in years. And the malach answered him, I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of Elohim, and I was sent to speak to you and bring you this tube news. And behold, you will be silent and unable to speak until the day that these things take place, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled in their time. And the people were waiting for Zachariah, and they were wondering at his delay in the temple. And when he came out, he was unable to speak to them, and they realized that he had seen a vision in the Mishkan. And he kept making signs to them and remained mute. And when his time of service was ended, he went to his home. After these days, his wife Elisheba conceived, and for 5 months she kept herself hidden, saying, Thus Yahuwah has done for me in the days when he looked on me to take away my reproach among people. In the 6th month, the malach Gabriel was sent from Elohim to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed, to a man whose name was Yusuf, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Miriam. And he came to her and said, Greetings, O favored one, Yahuwah is with you. But she was greatly troubled at the saying, and tried to discern what sort of greeting this might be. And the malach said to her, Do not be afraid, Mariam, for you have found favor with Elohim, and behold, you will conceive in your womb, and bear a bond, and you shall call his name Yahusha. He will be great, and will be called the bond of the Most High. And YAHUSHA ALAHYM will give to him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end. The house of Jacob. And Maryam said to the Malach, How will this be, since I am a virgin? And the Malach answered her, The Kadash Ruach will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore, the child to be born will be called Kodash, the bond of Elohim. And behold, your relative, Elisheba, in her old age, has also conceived a bond, and this is the 6th month with her who was called barren. For nothing will be impossible with Elohim. And Maryam said, Behold, I am the servant of Yahuwah. Let it be to me according to your word. And the Malach departed from her. In those days, Maryam arose and went with haste into the hill country to a town in Yehudah, and she entered the house of Zachariah, and greeted Elisheba. And when Elisheba heard the greeting of Maryam, the baby leaped in her womb, and Elisheba was filled with the Kodash Ruach, and she exclaimed with a loud cry, Baruch are you among women, and Baruch is the fruit of your womb. And why is this granted to me, that the mother of my master should come to me? For behold, when the sound of your greeting came to my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. And Baruch is she who believed that there would be a fulfillment of what was spoken to her from Yahuwah. Maryam's Song of Praise, the Magnificat. And Maryam said, My Nafash magnifies Yahuwah, and my Ruach rejoices in Elohim, my Savior, for he has looked on the humble estate of his servant. For behold, from now on all generations will call me Baruch. For he who is mighty has done great things for me, and Kadash is his name, and his mercy is for those who fear him, from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the mighty from their thrones, and exalted those who of humble estate. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty-handed. He has helped his servant Yasharal in remembrance of his mercy, as he has spoken to our fathers, to Abraham and to his offspring forever. And Maryam remained with her about 3 months and returned to her home. The birth of Yahuchanan the Immerser. Now the time came for Elisheba to give birth, and she bore a bond. And her neighbors and relatives heard that Yahuwah had shown great mercy to her, and they rejoiced with her. And on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they would have called him Zachariah after his father, but his mother answered, No, he shall be called Yahuchanan. And they said to her, None of your relatives is called by this name. And they made signs to his father, inquiring what he wanted him to be called. And he asked for a writing tablet, and wrote, His name is Yahuchanan. And they all wondered. And immediately his mouth was opened, and his tongue loosened, and he spoke YAHUSHA ALAHYM, and fear came on all their neighbors, and all these things were talked about throughout all the hill country of Yahudiah. And all who heard them laid them up in their hearts, saying, What then will this child be? For the hand of Yahuwah was with him. Zachariah's Nabuah. And his father Zachariah was filled with the Kadash Ruach and Nabah, saying, Baruch be the Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, for he has visited and redeemed his people, and has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spoke by the mouth of his Kadash Nabim from of old, that we should be saved from our enemies, and from the hand of all who hate us, to show the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his Kadash covenant, the oath that he swore to our father Abraham to grant us, that we, being delivered from the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in Kadashness and righteousness before him all our days. And you, child, will be called the Nab of the Most High, for you will go before Yahuwah to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation to his people in the forgiveness of their sins, because of the tender mercy of our Elohim, whereby the sunrise shall visit us from on high, and to give light to those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of shalom. And the child grew and became strong in Ruach, and he was in the wilderness until the day of his public appearance to Yasharal. 1 Peter 3:8-22. Suffering for righteousness' sake. Finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Do not repay evil for evil, or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, Barak. For to this you were called, that you may obtain a barakah. For whoever desires to love Chai and see 2 days, let him keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. Let him turn away from evil and do tub. Let him seek shalom and pursue it. For the eyes of Yahuwah are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayers. But the face of Yahuwah is against those who do evil. Now, who is there to harm you if you are zealous for what is true? But even if you should suffer for righteousness' sake, you will be Baruch. Have no fear of them, nor be troubled, but in your hearts honor HaMashiach Yahuwah as Kadash, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope and expectation that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect, having a true conscience, so that when you are slandered, those who revile your true behavior in HaMashiach may be put to shame. For it is better to suffer for doing tub, if that should be Elohim's will, than for doing evil. For HaMashiach also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to Elohim, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the Ruach, in which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison, because they formerly did not obey, when Elohim's patience waited in the days of Nuak, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were brought safely through water. Immersion, which corresponds to this, now saves you, not as a removal of dirt from the body, but as an appeal to Elohim for a true conscience, through the resurrection of YAHUSHA HaMashiach, who has gone into Shamayim and is at the right hand of Alahym with Malachim, authorities and powers, having been subjected to him. 2 Peter 2:4-10. For if Alahym did not spare the Malachim when they sinned, but cast them into hell, and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness, to be kept until the judgment, if he did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Nuak, a herald of righteousness, with 7 others, when he brought a flood upon the world of the unrighteous, if by turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to ashes, he condemned them to extinction, making them an example of what is going to happen to the unrighteous. And if he rescued righteous Lot, greatly distressed by the sensual conduct of the wicked, for as that righteous man, living among them day after day, he was tormenting his righteous soul, his righteous nafash, over their lawless deeds that he saw and heard. Then Yahuwah knows how to rescue the upright from trials, and to keep the unrighteous under punishment until the day of judgment, and especially those who indulge in the lustful and defiling passions and despise authority. Bold and willful, they do not tremble as they blaspheme the esteemed magnificent ones. Word of Yahuwah. This concludes the T2 Torah portion 2, Nuak.